FedEx on Monday to overnight something, and it dawned on me it was Memorial Day.
Oh no.
Everything's closed. It's now Monday. I've got a videotape in my hand. All my dreams and aspirations count on this thing being on a guy's desk tomorrow morning when the business day opens. This is 1990. So I'm like, oh shit. So I open the Yellow Pages, I start looking for delivery, and I find out that if you go to the airport and you pay like Delta or an airline, they will deliver stuff for you overnight for like $150, $200 or something. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of money.
In 1990, that's...
Yeah, in 1990, I was
might
like...
as well be $1,000.
Yeah, I'm working in a restaurant, putting pickle spears on plates, trying to figure out how to get to, my dreams. So I was like, it's worth it. I already got the stunt job, that'll pay for it, no worries. So I invested the money, I sent it. The next day, I called the producer, did you get my tape? He goes, yeah, I got the tape, but we're gonna audition 40 other guys here, and then we'll let you know. And I was like, all right, I'm sure those guys are cool dudes with agents and everything that's important. At least I got the stunt job. Cut to a week later, the producer calls me and he goes, congratulations, Ken, you're the new Raphael. It turns out they felt that my previous experience in the suits was gonna help them on first unit and they wouldn't have to break in a totally new person. And Pat Johnson, it was easier for him to get a really great stunt guy than for them to find an actor who could do all the stuff with familiarity. So I became the new Raphael from that point. So every little thing that I was kind of pushing and going for just kind of worked out.
Persistence, kids. Yeah. Persistence. So
and pig-headedness.
Yeah, that too. So you make both Turtles films. So you were not in the third one, correct?
I was not, and that's okay because the third one sucks. No, I'm sorry. There are some people that do like the third one.
Yeah.
The third one was a chaos for the franchise, and here's why. Yeah, they didn't want to hire the Henson Group to pay for the suits again, so they hired some other group that was going to do it cheaper. So if you A/B the movies, if you watch 1, 2, and then 3, you'll notice that the Turtles look totally different. And I'm not trying to be sour grapes or anything. I was busy making other movies as a human being at that point, which was awesome. But I always think the third movie, they kind of look more like newts rather than turtles. and also the mechanics, the animatronics. Look, the Henson Group developed cutting edge technology they called it puppet tectronics. And nobody, not Disney, not anybody had done what they had done with the Ninja Turtles. I mean, 27 motors and all these controls, and this was in 1989, before there was the internet and computers that most of the general public was using. And these brilliant little English guys with floppy hair were figuring out how to take apart drives and make incredible stuff.
And they were mobile, like you could walk around and act in it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Yoda that was a puppet that couldn't move.
Well, yeah. Splinter was a puppet.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't know, Splinter was also Elmo. Elmo and Splinter, same guy. So when they made the third movie, they didn't bring back the Henson Group. So the Turtles, and they also, what I was saying was the animatronics, they move much jerkier. They're not as smooth. So you kind of see when the Turtles talk, their mouths like snap into place rather than the free flow. So, yeah. So, and also what happened was the guy that directed the movie wrote the movie, and he was rewriting it as he was directing it. So as the actors were showing up, because I was still friends with the people in the movie, as the actors were showing up, nobody had any idea what they were going to do that day. And so there was a lot of fights, not physical fights, but there was a lot of arguments and people getting fired. It was a total cluster F. And I only know this because, again, my turtle friends who worked on the movie, we were in touch. And so what ended up happening in that movie was they needed to add a lot of dialogue to it after the fact to kind of fill in gaps and make things make sense. So they did what's called ADR, automatic dialogue replacement, or looping, if you guys know that. That's where actors go in when the movie's already done, and they just lay down lines. Well, in this Turtle movie, man, they laid in so many lines, like when the Turtles are riding horses, you can't see them talking, but you just hear them, oh my gosh, whoa, cowabunga, dude, rodeo, blah, blah, blah. And in this movie, the Turtles never shut up. There's not one, I'm sorry, I'm just pissing on this last movie.
It's all right, it's okay.
If you watch this movie, like, it gives me a headache watching this movie because they're constantly, what's up, dude, cowabunga, here we go, come on, oh, this is it. Just constant noise. So that was part of what they had to do to kind of try to save the movie. So the third one was a little bit of a chaotic mix. Some people love it, it's so fun, they travel back in time and all that stuff, so, but I have fun talking shit about it.
That's okay, it's all right, it's all right.
Boop, sorry.
PG-13. We're PG. I guess what? I'm in the clear for the rest of the day. He's already bust the bubble, so I'm
Broke retromania.
so you got done with the two turtle films. What were some of your other favorite projects that you worked on?
Well, when I was 12, hey, where's Heather at? Heather, do I see Heather? Heather in my books. All right, I lost Heather. Can I have you and a book?
There she is.
There she is. I just want to show this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We wanted to.
Okay, so ever since I was 12 or 13 years old doing martial arts, I set my goal to be an action hero in the movies. And I ain't trying to sell y'all a book, but if you guys are interested in stories, where'd Heather go? Bye, Heather.
She's disappeared. She's
okay. Yeah.
Oh, there
like
she is.
Teddy has over here. So I wrote a book about my goals being a Ninja Turtle, how I became a Ninja Turtle, and all these stories about making the movies and all this kind of stuff. If you like, it's on Amazon for like $10. So go check it out. It's got a bunch of Amazon stars. It was an Amazon bestseller. Well, I just finished the audiobook. That'll be coming out next month before Christmas. Anyway, this whole book is about my pursuit of my goal, which was trying to be an action hero in the movies. The reason this comes back to your question is because Ninja Turtles was everything I could live for. My first job out of college, I was a ninja. And then I became a ninja stunt guy. And then I became
and ninjas
a ninja
make
turtle.
everything better.
Yeah, right. So I was living my dream. Well, the next thing that happened was I moved to LA. I bought myself a first-class one-way ticket to fly from North Carolina to LA. That was I was going to send myself in style. I got to California, and then by hook and by crook, I created my own fake agency. I still don't have an agent in LA, so I created a fake agency. I went to Kinko's. This is before you could print stuff yourself. I went to Kinko's and I printed out fake letterhead and business cards, and I put together this package with pictures of myself from Ninja Turtles, and I sent it to all these companies that made Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Lo and behold, within a couple of weeks, I get a phone call. Hey, we'd like to meet you. My roommate was acting as my fake agent, so he talked to him on the phone, set up a meeting, and I ended up getting a contract with a company called Imperial Entertainment that made the movie Lionheart with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and they wrote a movie for me called Showdown, which I made in 1994, and it's basically kind of like Karate Kid. I'm the Karate Kid, and instead of Mr. Miyagi, my teacher is Billy Blanks, the guy that invented Taibo.
Oh yeah.
And he's a former, in the movie, he's a former cop who at the beginning of the movie accidentally kills somebody, so he gives up being a cop and becomes a janitor at a high school. So I moved to this new high school. I fall in love with the beautiful blonde girl, played by Ben Stiller's wife now, and then I get beat up by her boyfriend. And Billy Blanks sees this, and he says, "You gotta learn how to defend yourself." So he teaches me, and then I fight in an underground martial arts tournament. Instead of the All Valley Championships, it's an underground tournament where kids get hurt, and I win and the whole thing. So Showdown, very quickly after Ninja Turtles, was my dream. It was everything I had set out to live.
You're not behind the mask.
Yeah, I'm the guy, and I'm on the poster, and I'm flying around the country doing the publicity tour. And on opening weekend, the movie played theatrically in the United States. On opening weekend in Puerto Rico, my movie beat out Carlito's Way, starring Al Pacino.
All right.
So I beat Al Pacino on opening weekend. So I got to fly to Puerto Rico and go to the governor's mansion, which was built in 1494 by Ponce de Leon. And I'm like, look at my life. This is awesome. So if you've ever watched that show, America's Got Talent or anything like that, when people win that show or they move on to the next level, I cry. Like I'm a wuss. I cry because I know that feeling of everything you've hoped and aspired to coming true. And when that happens, it's just like, it's like everything's working in your favor. It's just it's literally a dream come true. I could be redundant and use other words, but that's what it was. So when I made Showdown, it was a dream come true. I'm the poster guy. So yeah, I loved doing
Wow, that is fantastic. It's awesome. Do we want to see if anybody's got any questions? Anybody got any questions?
¿Hay preguntas?
I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Sir, you're gonna have to wait your turn.
Terrible idea.
just yell it out. I'll repeat it. I was like, there you go. So,
Sorry about that.
when you got started in weaponry, in the movies or in how much?
The question is, we used weapons in the movies, and is that how I, as a martial artist, learned to use weapons? The answer is no. I've practiced Okinawan and traditional martial arts since I was 12 and 13 years old. So I for real used the size, which is Raphael's weapon. I'm really good at nunchucks though. That's why I was the fellow chucker. So it was my martial arts ability that got me the chance to do the work. And the weapons that were used were all used by very experienced martial artists from Hong Kong and everywhere. So nobody had to learn to do anything. We just had to learn how to do it in turtle suits. So there was a learning curve there. For instance, in the fellow chucker scene, does anybody know the scene, the fellow chucker scene? Okay,
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene in the whole movie, because So in the scene, I'm doing nunchucks and I'm doing it against the turtle. And I was really, really good and really, really fast. And I say that because this happened. They decided that the nunchucks were too fast for the camera. So the first thing they did is they took my nunchucks and they painted a silver stripe down the length of each one, because they thought you'd be able to see that better and it would seem like glints of light coming off the nunchucks. Well, it helped a little bit, but they had to figure out how to make Michelangelo look better than me, and I was really good at it. Well, the guy that was Michelangelo was really good at nunchucks, but he was not good at it in a suit because you have a big shell coming out your side and all this. So he could only do so many tricks. He was limited. So they had to figure out a way to make Michelangelo look better. They couldn't do it by using real action, so they figured out on the spot how to do it with comedy, and it's not in the script, but they invented that day that whole scene where he's got his finger up and it's like a propeller. The nunchucks are going around his one finger, and he, with his other hand, he's just doing like this. He looks so casual. What they did was they took a drill. First they took two nunchucks and they shellacked them into just one big long piece so you could hold them up and it looked like one big stick. And then they took a drill, a power drill, they attached a clutch cable to it. The clutch cable went all the way up Raph's leg, Michelangelo, all the way out his hand and came out his fingertip, and then they attached that propeller to it. So off camera, below the camera, is the prop guy with the drill, and on action, he just goes, and that cable was spinning all the way up here, and then spinning and doing that propeller. So they created this really cool thing that shows you how creative these guys were to come up with something like that, and they really added a great laugh to the movie, because whenever that happens, it was really, so it wasn't even scripted by the writers, and just through the need to be better than me, the movie got better, so thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I should say you're welcome.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, making a movie as a martial artist, first time on Turtles, was there any sort of having to learn to pull your punches or anything like that? Or
No.
Okay.
And it's a good question.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a story about somebody who did have to learn to pull their punches. When you do stunt fighting, for people that may or may not know, hey, I need a volunteer. Somebody, anybody. Okay, come on up.
I'm glad he didn't ask me.
Come on right here. Jump up on the stage. What's your name? Jacob, I'm Ken. All right, if Jacob and I are filming a movie, and you guys kind of in this area are the camera, right? If I go like this, and clap your hands when my hand goes like this, so it's like a punch. If I go like this, now that's a very good reaction. Don't hurt yourself, we're not insured.
Yeah.
Now if Jacob does that, that's pretty good. But you can see that my hand was right here, right? So what we do is we take camera angles. So Jason, go right there. Same thing. So you can see, right? Now you can't even tell. Now if I stand off an angle, now clap your hands again. That was really good. Don't hurt yourself. Ready? Okay, you guys get the idea, right? Give Jacob a hand, by the way. That's $75 a day worth of work.
That's right.
Thank you, Jacob. That was great.
Jacob, I am hurting for you, dude. My knees are screaming.
So you got to understand camera angles. Well, for me, in karate tournaments growing up, there was a division called self-defense where you actually choreographed movie-like fights and got to compete and you get trophies for it. But I actually, because I was so interested in movies and I was studying this stuff my whole life, trying to achieve this dream and going to film school and all that, I had already gone out with friends and video cameras and shot and tried to recreate some of the ninja movies, Enter the Ninja and Return of the Ninja and all these things that I grew up with. I tried to create that stuff. So we knew what it was all about. But on the second movie, Kevin Nash came in, the wrestler, Big Sexy, or whatever they call him, right? He's Big Sexy, right? Okay, I think that's his name. Well, he came in on the second movie. He's 6'11", and he was the super shredder. So after the shredder drinks some of the ooze, the secret ooze, he morphs into this giant thing we fight. Well, that was Kevin Nash, the wrestler, dressed up. He was 21 years old with the worst mullet I've ever seen, but he was a super nice guy. Well, when he came in to choreograph the fights, he stood there like this, and one of the stunt turtles like threw a punch, and he just kind of sat there. And Pat Johnson, the stunt coordinator, said, "Hey, Kevin, man, you gotta move your head." And so Kevin goes, "Well, I need you to hit me." And Pat was like, "No." He's like, "No, I can take it. I'm used to wrestling. Go ahead and just punch me like that." And Pat was like, "No, you don't understand. That's not how we do it here. It's not going to be like that." So Kevin Nash had to learn that we weren't like wrestling, and there was camera angles.
Well, I thought that was going to end with they really did hit him, and it was not pretty.
No, but then one time he mouthed off to me, so I kicked his ass.
All right. Anybody else got
Any other questions, guys? Yeah, Joe. Yes. There's, again, because there's 4 guys playing each turtle, there's sometimes people can go, "Oh, did you do that?" or "Did you do that?" and "What's up?" So on the rooftop, when you see Raphael going out and getting mad and kicking and punching and all that stuff, that's me going across that roof as opposed to the actor. And because the camera was actually, we were in New York filming, and I was in a building probably almost a quarter mile away from where the camera was, and they were zoomed in really tight because it was supposed to look like Casey Jones was looking through binoculars. So I was on one rooftop in real New York City, and there was just a PA with a microphone, and Pat Johnson was with me. And the director comes on and he goes, "Okay, I want you to kick and punch your way across the roof as if you were very angry. You've just come from arguing with your brother, and I want you to be very upset and sort of just beat people up and get your aggression out." I was like, "Okay." So I went out there and I'm jumping around, I'm kicking, I'm kind of punching the air like I'm mad, which, by the way, is some of the best acting in that movie for Raphael. It really comes across. But only after the first take, he come back and he said, "I need you to be a bit angrier. Would that be all right?" I said, "That'll be fine. Let me see what I can do." So I increased the anger. So yeah, that was me across the roof. All right, last question. Who's got one? Yes. What's your question? You might need an interpreter. Does he have one? Okay. Yes, what's your question?
What were your biggest challenges making the movies?
What were the biggest challenges making the movies? Man, I gotta be honest with you, the detail is where the important part is, but the answer is obvious. It's working in the suits. Working in a Ninja Turtle suit. I'll put it like this. Bette Midler. No, it wasn't Bette Midler. It was Bernadette Peters. Somebody was asked Bernadette Peters, who's a famous actress, "Hey, is it fun making movies?" And she said, "It's fun to eat Twinkies. It's not fun to work at the Twinkie factory." Being a Ninja Turtle was super exciting, but it sucked. It sucked being a Ninja Turtle. You're wearing a 40 or 65 pound suit, whatever it is that you're doing. You're getting dehydrated every day. We used to sweat out 9 or 10 pounds of water weight every single day. You'd get dehydrated. We had nosebleeds all the time because we were so dehydrated. At night, you get it all back because you're drinking Gatorade, water, or whatever. But one guy threw up in his own suit. We had oxygen tanks like they do on football sidelines. So after we take off the heads after a while, we could breathe oxygen tanks. It was miserable. Judith Hoag, who was a lovely, lovely, lovely person, she actually got in a lot of trouble. One of the reasons she did not come back on the second movie, one of the reasons, is because she was such an advocate. She felt like the producers treated the turtles terribly, and what we went through physically was so demanding that a lot of should have been. So she was like our Norma Ray. She was like an advocate, and it really caused some contention out there. So working in Ninja Turtle suits, that's the most.
I had always wondered why she didn't come back.
There's more to it than that. I don't
Okay.
want to say that's it, but yeah. Last one.
How many hours did it take for you guys to make the fighting scenes?
How many hours did it take to make the fight scenes? We practiced for 2 to 3 weeks before we started shooting the movie, choreographing all the fights. And so by the time it was ready to shoot, everybody just knew their parts and was ready to go.
Well, and Bill, I say that you didn't start off in a turtle suit though. No. So how long did that take to? We talked it was a challenge, but how long did it kind of take you to really get a feel for it?
Well, what happened was as soon as I stepped into the turtle suit, anything that they had already choreographed, I got to re-choreograph.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
because it was based on what I could do versus what the other guy could do.
Gotcha. All right, guys, I think that's all the time we have with Kenn right now. However,
Yeah, look, right here, I know Heather's got, if you guys are interested, we brought some books right over here to the stage, so if anybody wants a book, they're only, look, again, I'm not trying to sell you a book, it doesn't matter to me. I just wrote this because it's a chance to tell stories like this, but a lot of stories that you don't hear, that aren't the typical questions and stuff. On Amazon, the book's $10. If you're an e-reader, it's like $3.99. Here, they're autographs, so they're $50. But if you want a book, come grab one. They're a lot of fun. It's great toilet reading because the chapters are really short. Hey guys, I really appreciate you guys coming and sitting and letting me hang out. It's really so much fun to come to cons. I know it's exciting for Ninja Turtle fans to meet people like Brian Tochi and associated with it. What I don't think you guys realize is this is really a special experience for us because we meet a lot of fans who, you know, this Turtles, like for me, Star Wars and things, this becomes a mythology for people. And it influences their lives since they were kids, it affects their lives, and it affects generations. I see, you know, kids that are now 38 years old show up with their kid and their mom, because their mom became a fan when they were young. So 3 generations show up. The opportunity for us to sit across from a table and be the recipient of that love and the desire for people to meet somebody associated with something that's so important to them, it's like a gift for us. So thank you guys. I say give yourselves a hand.
thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I love it. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you around.